enter Habs After Dark with Recliner Sports.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Habs After Dark. My name is Devin. This is Recliner Sports. And welcome to the show. I feel like it's been a while. We didn't do a show on Saturday. I got caught up with some other things, and I don't think we did a show in the game before that because it was a late night game. So I feel like it's been a while, but I'm happy to be back, and I'm glad to see all of you here. Unfortunately, we're going to be discussing what has become a rare loss for the Montreal Canadiens this year. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be here, happy to chat and have a conversation with all of you about the game. Bienvenue tout le monde. Ça fait quelques matchs depuis que je fais une émission. On avait des émissions des matchs qui terminaient tard dans l'ouest du Canada. Alors, j'ai pas eu l'opportunité d'avoir une émission après le match à Seattle et j'ai pas eu l'opportunité d'avoir une émission après le match samedi soir. Non plus contre les Sénateurs. Alors, ça sent que c'est longtemps depuis que on est ici, mais je suis très heureux d'être ici. Je suis très heureux de vous voir. Alors, merci pour avoir été ici. So, guys, before we get started, I'll get through all the other stuff. Like I said, if we're trying to grow our channel here, we're trying to get this community going. If you're watching and you're enjoying the content, give us a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, if you want to be a part of the Recliner Sports community, where we try and engage in some objective, intelligent, fun conversation about our favorite team and hockey in general, then I would certainly invite you to hit the subscribe button down below, the notification bell as well. Si vous aimez la conversation ici, si vous avez l'intérêt dans la conversation intelligente, objectif au sujet des Canadiens, au sujet du hockey, on aimerait bien vous avoir partie de notre communauté Recliner Sports. Alors, vous pouvez pousser sur le bouton en bas pour devenir membre ici. Vous pouvez aussi pousser sur le bouton de cloche pour avoir des notifications. Alors, on veut avoir 500 membres ici. On a présentement 474. Alors, si vous joindrez à nous, c'est bon pour moi, c'est bon pour l'émission, c'est bon pour notre émission. Alors, si vous avez l'intérêt, poussez sur les boutons en bas. All right, guys, that's it for that stuff. Let's get her going here. Frank says the loss doesn't register as a loss. At least we got 1 point. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Frank, necessarily. I think there's a lot of things about that game that the Canadiens, need to do better. I mean, the first period was not acceptable. The way they played in that first period, I don't think was an acceptable result. They just need to be better. A two-man power play is hard to kill off, and allowing that goal perhaps is not the end of the world. I did think that the first goal was one that Montembeault probably could have stopped. I know it was a deflection from the high slot, but that was sort of a position goal. He didn't look like he was quite ready for it. But again, that's a goalie who's not real confident in himself early in the game. He certainly, as we have watched the rest of the game, we saw that he certainly redeemed himself and found his confidence later on. But yeah, they got the 1 point, and I'm happy with that as well. Certainly, it's a lot better than, if they hadn't come back in the second period and did what they did. But again, getting behind 3-0 in the first period isn't ideal, and giving up the lead in the third period also isn't ideal. So there will be some conversations to have, and things to work on, right? It's not going to be a situation where where they're able to do, it's not going to be all fun and games, and they'll have things to work on, which, is not necessarily a bad thing, right? These are, this is a young team. It's a team that's learning lessons. We've seen they struggle with consistency, They struggle with playing a full 60 minutes. And tonight was an exception, right? They did not play a full 60 minutes tonight. Randy does not like the pick plays by Philly. I don't disagree. It's obviously a strategy that they use. They get away with it a lot. They did get called on one of them, I believe. It was Nick Seeler got called on a penalty against Gallagher in the first period, maybe the second period. I'm not sure exactly when it was. But yeah, I mean, that's the inconsistency of refereeing in the NHL is not ideal. The bigger problem for me was them not making the call in overtime when the Philadelphia player played the puck while he was still on the bench. He was, he still hadn't jumped onto the ice yet, and he played the puck, and the referee didn't. And then 3 seconds later, they guy slide tackles Ivan Demidov and takes his legs out and creates an opportunity going the other direction. I didn't feel like that was very good either. 12 shots into the overtime. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Randy. Again, that's a bit of the first period, obviously, I think they had 2 shots in the first period. Obviously, that doesn't help. But yeah, they can't be a team that gets, 15, 16, even 20 shots a game is not enough. So, Bushy says, from my research, the shootout rule did exist. Any player whose penalty is not expired at the end of the overtime shall not be eligible to participate in the shootout. And then Bushy says, the rule has since been updated to players serving a 10-minute, a game misconduct, or a match penalty are not eligible for the shootout. Okay, well, there you go. I didn't think that Demidov was going to be eligible to participate in the shootout because he was serving a penalty when the overtime ended, but I proved to be wrong, which, happens more than you would think. On the tying goal, didn't the Philly player kick Monty's stick out? I don't think it was anything intentional. I don't think it was anything that would have warranted a penalty, Randy. I guess maybe you could make that argument, but I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would make that argument. If you're over watching on TikTok, guys, come join us on YT. We're live on Recliner Sports 4 on YT. Come check out the show if you want to participate. If you want to ask any questions, I can't really answer your questions over there at the moment, but if you have questions over here, we're answering them all. So come on over. I certainly prefer to have conversations with you guys than just simply talk to myself. On peut aussi parler en français si vous avez des questions en français. Vous pouvez les demander si vous avez des commentaires aussi. J'aime bien avoir des commentaires en français. Et c'est certainement une émission bilingue ici. You can see Marty asking Demidov if he wanted to go first in the shootout. I enjoyed that. I didn't catch that. That's pretty cool if he did. It's pretty cool if he did. Yeah. I mean, Demidov, unfortunately, wasn't able to score in the shootout. He did put a good move on Vladar, and Vladar made probably his best save of the game on that play. And then, unfortunately, Nick Suzuki had Vladar completely beaten, and he wasn't able to finish. The puck kind of just slid off his stick before he could finish the play and put the puck into the empty net. What jerseys do I have behind me? I have a Saku Koivu and a Arbor Jackeye jersey behind me. Those are my two. I have other jerseys, but those are the two. I wanted to have one white one and one red one, so that's why I have those two back there behind me. So, yeah. So why don't we talk, let's do a bit of, before we get to the scoreboard, let's do an out-of-town scoreboard, guys, real quickly, just to give you guys an update of what's going on around the NHL. Vladar is their number one goalie this year so far, Randy. He had actually a really good. He's had a really good start to the season. His save percentage going into tonight's game, I believe, was .927 or something like that. He hasn't had a lot of success wins and losses wise because the team hasn't been that great behind him or in front of him, pardon me. But he did have some good numbers coming in. So out of town, guys, we've got the Oilers and the Stars are playing. It's 3-2 currently for the Oilers with a little under 9 minutes left in the third period. Scoring for the Stars, Rantanen scored both of their goals, one on the power play. The Oilers have goals from McDavid, Draisaitl, and Vasily Podkolzin. The Wild lead the Predators 2-1 in the third period, about 10.5 minutes left. Zeev Buyum has a goal on the power play for the Wild, as does Kapril Kaprizov, both power play goals. Matthew Wood has the Predators' lone goal. The Lightning lead the Avalanche 1-0 with 8.5 minutes left in the first period. Nikita Kucherov with the goal in that game. Red Wings and Golden Knights are tied at 0. That's about 5 minutes into the first period. About 4 minutes into the first period, the Ducks are up on the Panthers 1-0. Eighth goal for Cutter Gauthier. He's having a fantastic start to his season. The Jets and Kings play later tonight. The Mammoth and the Sabres are final 2-1 in overtime. The Mammoth defeat the Sabres. Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller with the goals. Keller with the game winner in overtime. Noah Osland with the goal for Buffalo, his first of the year. The Bruins defeated the Sabres 4-3 in a shootout. Duclair, Horvat, and Horvat. So Horvat with 2 goals for the Islanders. Marat Kusnutdinov. I can never get his name right. I apologize for that. Pavel Zacha, Victor Arvidsson, and those would be so 3 goal scorers on each, and then the overtime shootout win for the Bruins. And of course the Hurricanes 3, the Rangers 0. Goals by Nikolai Ehlers, Sean Walker, and Seth Jarvis. So Seth Jarvis is back. There was some conversation that Seth Jarvis would be injured and out for a while, but it looks like he's back in the lineup. So good for him. I thought somebody had said that he broke a bone in his foot, but if he's back in and he's got his 8th goal of the year, that's great for him. Habs power play is looking great with the youngsters. I agree, Randy. It does look quite good. It appears that they've kind of abandoned the idea of having 2 equal power plays and moving towards loading up 1 power play unit, which seems to be working for the moment. So I thought obviously losing Line has changed plans a little bit, but I thought that earlier in the year, I thought they might go with, a more balanced power play approach where you've got 2 units that are, you spread out your talent a little bit. But they've seemed to have abandoned that. And, they didn't really give the second power play unit much of a chance to get rolling. But now, things are going great for the power play. I mean, another 2 power play goals tonight. So, I agree with you completely. It looks good. Gallagher added to the Doc Bolduc line looked good. I didn't feel Velino add any offensive input for Anderson and Evans. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's what he was supposed to do. I don't think that you're looking for. I've got that, Randy. I don't know that putting Veleno on that 4th line was intended to give them, offensive jump or anything like that. I mean, I don't know that I think that any offense you get from that line is kind of a bonus. I mean, last year, Anderson and Evans, contributed probably more than you would have expected offensively, but that's not what they're there to do. I think they're probably, they're more so there to be, they're both penalty killers. Maybe they, you want them to bring a little bit of energy from time to time. But, as far as, that I call them the 4th line, the 4th line being, an offensive producer, I don't know that that's something, I I don't know that that's something you need to have from them or that you expect from them. Any type of offense you get from them is a bit of a bonus. I frankly like Gallagher. I like Gallagher, Evans, and Anderson. Sorry, my brain froze up there for a second. I like the three of those guys together. I think that's a very good line. I would probably try and keep that line together personally. But that's just me. I guess I think it's more of a case of trying to jumpstart Doc and Bolduc, which obviously worked tonight with Gallagher and Gallagher. I don't think got any points, but certainly Doc got off the schneid a little bit with his with his 2-goal performance. So what is that for the year for Doc? How many? So he's got 3 on the year now. So yeah. Frank says all the teams going to be in the postseason usually make good in December month and January. Hope the Habs keep playing the way they are. It will be interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, you can't really, I don't think you can, miss the playoffs this early in the season. Sorry, you can't really make the playoffs this early in the season, but you can certainly do yourself some damage and hurt your chances when it comes end of the year. Malachi, welcome. I think you're new here, Malachi. Welcome. Welcome to the show. And if you're not yet subscribed, I would invite you to do so. Hit the button down below. That would be great. What do I think about the Kadri trade rumors? I personally don't think it would be worth it due to the cap hit, but his experience could be a positive for this team. I don't like it. I don't know that there's any real value to those rumors. I don't know that the Canadiens would be particularly interested in a player like Kadri. It's not so much his cap hit that I don't like. It's his age. We've heard time and time again from both Hughes and Gorton that they're looking for players that can grow with the team. To me, that eliminates players who are, 35, 36, 37, 38 years old. I don't see the team looking for short-term fixes, guys who won't be with the team when they become a perennial cup contender. Right, the ultimate goal of this management group is to become a perennial cup contender. Kadri's not going to be a part of that, and to bring a guy in for a short term, I don't know, especially considering what you might have to give up to get him. I don't really see them sacrificing any significant long-term future assets in return for a player like Kadri or a player like Crosby or a player like Philip Deneau, like any of these veteran, I get it. It sounds good to say that they need veteran experience, but do they really? Like I don't know that his veteran experience would really be that significant. You could argue that Crosby's would be. I mean, and I think, there's no better leader probably in the NHL than Sidney Crosby. And I think there certainly would be a benefit to have Crosby on the team for a couple of years and see if he can, teach some of the younger leaders, what he, but I mean, there's plenty of leadership on this team. I mean, there's, you've got Nick Suzuki, who's a leader. You've got Mike Matheson, who's a leader. You've got, some younger guys who have leadership qualities because they've been in the league for a long time despite their age. Caden Gooley, there's plenty of leadership on this team. Gallagher, Evans, Anderson. Like I don't see a shortage of leadership on this team or a real desperate need to bring in. Certainly not to the point where you're bringing in guys who are in their late 30s. So for me, I'm not a big fan of the idea of Kadri joining the Canadiens. I don't think it fits their rebuilding plan. I don't think it fits the team philosophy. I don't think it's in line with what they're trying to accomplish. Doc Bolduc was on the fourth line. Well, again, it all depends on what you consider to be the fourth line, Randy. I personally, I kind of in my mind think of the Evans line as being the fourth line, mainly because that's sort of more your defensive shutdown kind of line, which I usually associate with being a fourth line. But again, it's all semantics really. At this point, I mean, I don't know who would have had the more ice time between those guys. So tonight, the least ice time amongst the forwards would have been Veleno with 11 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the least ice time tonight by a little bit would have been the Balduke Gallagher line. Yeah, happy to see Kirby. Creating turnovers in the neutral zone, doing better with the defensive zone coverage. So, yeah, I mean, it's early, to suggest that he's got his, one game doesn't mean you've necessarily got your scoring touch back, but it is nice to see him get rewarded for his hard work and get a couple goals tonight, Frank. I agree with you completely about that. Malachi, I've never thought about leadership that way. That was a great way to put it. Yeah, I mean, again, I think one of the things that the Montreal Canadiens are trying to do is they're trying to have players who are further ahead in their careers than their age would indicate, right? They want players to get to a certain point in their careers when they're younger, and not, sort of when they're old, grizzled veterans. They want these guys to have experience. They want these guys to be leaders. They want these guys to have certain qualities when they're 26, 27, 28 instead of when they're 32, 33, 34, right? And so you've got a guy like Gouli who, despite the fact that he's still only like 24 years old, has been in the league for some time. You've got guys, you're going to have a guy like Slavkovsky who, isn't even 21 years old yet, I don't think. And he's, in his third full season in the NHL. So by the time he's 23 or 24, he's going to be 6, 7, 8 years in the league. So, even Suzuki, right? He's still only 26 or 27 years old. But, he's considered, a leader. So, I think that's the way I look at it. And I get it. You always want to have leadership and experience, but I don't know that that's a quality or an asset or something that the Canadiens are necessarily desperate to have. Dvorak led the Flyers with 24 minutes of ice time. Yeah, that makes sense. He played well. He's a valuable player. Um, okay, well, again, Randy, you can call it the fourth line if you want. I don't call it that. Um, uh, Again, I think it's all semantics. Um, but it's if you believe, is the microphone not working? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? How is our sound? It says it's working on my end. I guess it's back. It's back. Okay. I don't know how far back I got to go, but yeah, I mean, you can certainly call whatever line you want. I mean, you can call the Suzuki line the fourth line if you want. If you're going strictly based on ice time, then I think you're probably right. As far as the ice time goes tonight, the Gallagher, Doc, the Gallagher Doc. Who's on that Doc? Well, my brain is fried right now. That the Gallagher Doc line had slightly less ice time than. Sorry, I'm just looking at the stats here. Yeah, like Veleno had 11 minutes of ice time tonight. So I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Is it going on and off and on? There's nothing I can do, guys. Is it working there? Like it should be working. I'm looking at the sound levels here, and everything seems to be okay on my end. Um, all right, let's get to the scoreboard, guys. Again, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs down if you cannot. Can't. We're not at. We're still only at 474 subscribers. So the game is long over. So we're not going to have that tonight, Frank. So I might do something after the show's over. But let's get to the scoreboard here, guys. Lots of goals to talk about. As we've discussed already, a bit of a tale of two periods. The first period was all Philadelphia. First goal by Brink from Sanheim and York, deflection in the high slot. The next goal was York from Zegras. I wrote Zebras. I think that was an autocorrect. But Zegras and Konechny on the power play, that was the two-man advantage goal. And then you had another goal from Brink on the remaining time on the second penalty from Cates and Zebras again. So that is definitely an autocorrect. Canadiens were outshot, I believe, 15-2 in that first period. Second period, the Canadiens just came out on fire. Again, I thought was relatively confident that they'd be able to come back despite being down 3-0 after the first period. They did so in the second period. Two goals from Kirby Dach. Dach scored his first of the game from Dobson and Gallagher at 3:12. Then they scored one on the power play by Suzuki from Demidov and Caulfield at 4:15. I just want to talk about that goal for a second. Again, just demonstrating the skill and vision that Ivan Demidov has. If you were watching the game, he gets a pass in the high slot and he wants to get the shot off as quickly as he can. And when he tries to get the shot off, he fumbles the puck a little bit, right? He loses the puck a little bit, and instead of just giving up on the play and just kind of firing a weak shot at the net, he automatically knows that Nick Suzuki, where Nick Suzuki is, and puts a pass right on his tape, right? So he's trying to shoot that puck, and he gets the puck, and he doesn't get it perfectly right away. And instead of just wasting the play and whatever, he knows exactly where Nick Suzuki is, puts the puck on his stick, and Suzuki has a wide open net, and Vladar is left in his crease, kind of spinning around like a top. Just again, incredible skill and vision from Ivan Demidov on that goal. Doc scored his second of the period from Hudson and Struble at 13:26, and then Demidov scored at 15:56 on the power play. Again, he is so shifty and so able to distribute the puck that the other team really kind of, on that play, you saw they almost have to back off him a little bit now. They're expecting him to make a play, so they're covering the pass, and by covering the pass, they leave him open and they give him a chance to shoot, and he just puts a laser over the shoulder of Vladar in the net for the Flyers, and it's at that point the Canadiens have taken the lead. It's 4-3 heading into the third period. Again, you hope that they at that point can then come out in the third and just bury the Flyers. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works out. They can't get the insurance goal to give themselves that little bit of cushion. And midway through the period, they allow a goal from Gulbenkian, from Konechny and Drysdale. Montembeault is playing without his stick. He loses his stick. He's not able to retrieve it. Credit to Gulbenkian. Gulbenkian goes in on the goal, and he's smart enough to shoot short side, to shoot to the blocker side, and Montembeault is not able to make the save. So the score's tied. That's the only goal of the third period. We head to overtime. I thought that Philadelphia did a good job of controlling. The Canadiens are a far more skilled team, especially in a 3-on-3 scenario. But they did a really good job of killing the play, right? Zegras, just ragged the puck and ragged the puck and ragged the puck, and didn't really give the Canadiens a chance to get flying. Um, and the Canadiens just didn't have the opportunities to score the goals and to make the plays that that they've been making. Certainly it looked like Philadelphia has done their homework. They knew what to expect from Montreal. They knew that they couldn't get into a run and gun with Montreal, and they did a good job of controlling that. So no scoring in the overtime, and then of course in the shootout, Zegras scores first. Demidov is stopped. Then Zegras scores. Then who went second? Caulfield stopped. Then Brink scored, I believe. Brink scored. And then Suzuki went third, and he wasn't able to score either. So shootout winner goes to Trevor Zegras. Trevor Zegras had a great game tonight. 2 assists, and the shootout winner. Good hockey player, right? Don't know what Anaheim was thinking, but they couldn't make it work for him. So anyways, that's the scoreboard for tonight, guys. I hope we'll get back to do some of the advanced stats, much to Randy's chagrin. Malachi has one last question before he has to go. If Monty or Dobesh gets injured, do you think Fowler or Kakinen would get called up? I think they would really, really, really hesitate to bring up Jacob Fowler at this stage. I think they understand that he needs time to develop to the pro game. I think they understand that he's not ready for the NHL. I think they understand that it could be damaging to his career for them to call him up at this stage. I think that if either Dobesh or Montembeault got hurt, I think they would much prefer to bring up Kakinen to back up the one who didn't get hurt. And they would probably try to, I think they would probably try to find another goalie to bring in to play either, in the AHL or to back up. But I don't see Fowler being an option that they would really want to consider, as far as, being the next goalie up for the Canadiens. I would like to see the Battle of Peanut Butter Whiskey. I want to probably try to buy some. If I know the name brand, if you don't mind. I don't know the name of the brand off Screwball, I think it's called. But yeah. I think the Flyers were only trying to kill time in the overtime to avoid the Habs' first line from getting any part of the puck. Yeah, I think that was part of it. I think they were trying to slow the game down. I think they were trying to, obviously maintain possession. The Canadiens can't score if they don't have the puck. But yeah, I think that's probably right. I don't know that they were trying to kill time necessarily, but I think they certainly were, trying to slow the pace down and keep the puck away from the Canadiens if they could. Demidov snapper is a rocket. You are right. I agree with you on that. I'd like to see him use that shot a little bit more. I agree totally. Ivan is going to be a spectacular player for the Canadiens. The more he plays, the better he gets. I think we have our superstar finally. I don't know what you mean by finally. I mean, Lane Hudson's a superstar. We have him. Nick Suzuki looks like he's a superstar. I mean, he's on pace to put up over 100 points, and is at the same time one of the better defensive forwards in the NHL. So, I don't think it's going to be, the Canadiens are not going to win on the back of superstars. The Canadiens are going to win because they are a well-constructed team with talent from top to bottom. I don't think you win with superstars in the NHL anymore. I don't think that's the recipe. I think you've got to win with good players up and down your lineup. So I'm not really that interested in superstars for Montreal, but if Demidov turns out to be the player he looks like he's going to be, and Caulfield and Suzuki and Slafkovsky and Hudson, and all. It's just that's how they're going to win. All right, back to the scoreboard. Let's get into our advanced stats real quick here. Again, dominated pretty much across the board by the Flyers tonight, as you'd expect. The Corsi shot attempts, of course, 71-46 for the Flyers. The shots total was 42-20. The Canadiens did manage to land more hits, 26-22. They also dominated the faceoff circle, 38-23. The high danger chances were 20-9. Not a very flattering number for Montreal, and the expected goals were 5.09 to 3.05. So you have, just by the way, for those who are counting, that means that tonight, let me just bring this up and make sure I get this exactly right for you. Tonight, despite people calling after the first period for Samuel Montembeault to be fired in a rocket at the Sun, he finished the game tonight with a 9.05 save percentage and a goal saved above expected of 1.17. So let's just cool off on the send Montembeault to Laval conversation for now. The expected goals were 5.09 to 3.05, which means that he saved 1.17 goals above expected tonight. That is it for our advanced stats, guys. That's what happens when you only show up in one period. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. They certainly didn't show up in the first period. I thought they played great in the second period. I thought they showed up in the third period. They could have done more in the third period. Obviously, I think they had an opportunity to bury the Flyers, and they didn't take the opportunity. But I don't know that I would go as far as to say they didn't show up in that third period. The shots were 11-7 for Philadelphia in the third period. So again, I don't know that I would. Again, to me, the biggest issue with this Canadiens team is that most games they're playing 40 minutes out of 60. Tonight, the first period was the issue for a long period of time. The second period was the issue. And lately, they've been giving up leads in the third period. So again, I'm not going to say they only played one period tonight, but they certainly did not show up in the first period, and they certainly didn't give themselves the opportunity. Imagine if they'd had the second period and the first period, and they were up 4-0 after the first period. Totally different game, right? So, I know it's Zegers, not Zebras. Randy, like I said, it was it's an autocorrect, and I got it wrong on both times. So I'm aware. I got it right on the shootout winner, but I didn't get it right, or the autocorrect didn't get it right on the. I'm aware that it's not Trevor Zebras. Yes. Hoping Gallagher gets his first goal soon. Yeah, it'll be nice to see him get off the snide and start putting the puck in the net. He had, obviously 21 goals last year, so it was a pretty good offensive season for him last year. I think that, again, I think that for me, I would like to see him and Evans and Anderson just be more of a permanent fourth line role. I don't think that it benefits Gallagher to jump around from line to line. I don't think it benefits him to have offensive expectations. I don't think it benefits him to get more ice time. Last year, I thought he did really, really well in a limited role, and he took advantage of the fact that he didn't, not much was expected of him, and he didn't have to play a lot of minutes. For him, a guy whose body is pretty beaten up, I think it's to his benefit to not have that wear and tear on his body. So, yeah. I would much prefer to see him more permanently on that fourth line with Evans and Anderson. All right, we're going to do the A-team, guys. The A-team is our version of the stars of the game. We pick 4 players for the Montreal Canadiens that I feel had the biggest impact. So I'm going to tell you who I thought had the biggest impact for the Canadiens. You can certainly feel free in the comments to let me know if I'm right, if I'm wrong, who you would have picked, who are your four players of the game for Montreal. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. Sometimes people agree with me, sometimes people don't. So let's get to it. Let's do the A team here. Got a nice little graphic for you all. Let's try that again. I want to try that with, see if I can fix the volume. Is it better? Let's go back here, go here, go here. I'll get to your questions there in a second there, Craig. But we're going to do the A team here for a second, guys. Was that better with the volume turned down a bit? Hopefully that didn't blow your ears off. So Slavkovsky, Demidov, Hudson, and Doc tonight are my A team. I don't know if you agree with me. Let me know what you think. I thought Slavkovsky played a solid game. I think he's been playing solid hockey overall for a while now. He had the highest expected goals percentage on the team. Just again, being a bit of a glue guy on that first line. Making Suzuki and Caulfield look good. I liked him. I thought he had a little bit of a fire in his game tonight as well. A little bit of a scrum there with Garnet Hathaway. Probably deserved to have a power play come out of that cross check to the face that he took. Ivan Demidov, again, what am I going to say about Ivan Demidov tonight? He just looks more and more special. I'm really encouraged that his game seems to translate to the NHL. And that I think he's only going to get better and better, right? The only question coming into this year was, is he going to be able to do the things that he did in the KHL last year at the NHL level? And I think that answer is unanimously yes. He is going to be able to do the same things, and he's getting good coaching. He's playing. He's getting better and better all the time. He's getting more confident out there. He's realized it's very similar to what Lane Hudson went through last year, right? Where Hudson, was trying new things and learning lessons and, making mistakes and learning from those mistakes and, getting more confident in what he was able to do and what he wasn't able to do and learning when to, to take chance, like all of these things he's learning on the job. I think there's a big similarity between Demidov and Hudson. Hudson, of course, you see is the third member of the A team. Just another solid game from Hudson tonight, 66% on the expected goals for. Solid defensively. I don't know that he was, time on ice tonight, 23 and a half minutes. Let's see what his box score is. Come on now. Hudson. 2 assists, or 2 points, two assists for 2 points. Another solid game for Hudson. Defensive game solid, like just this narrative that he's not he's purely an offensive player and can't hold his own on the defensive side of things. I'm not buying it. And then finally Kirby Dach gets off the schneid, gets his first or second and third goals of the year. Also manages to put up a come on now. What did he get for his expected goals percentage? Expected goals percentage for Doc tonight was just under 50%. So 48.3% expected goals percentage. But he got the two goals, not just 2 goals, but gave the Canadiens the momentum. Right, took the bull by the horns and got that first goal. To get the Canadiens going in that second period. So Slavkovsky, Demidov, Hudson, Doc, those are the members of the A team for me. What do you think? Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Do you think those four guys deserve to be recognized as the four best for the Canadiens tonight? Is there anybody that you would have on there that I didn't? Let me know what you think. Fire away in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are about the A team tonight. Craig, Mr. McPhilly says, Habs look great. They did their rebuild right. Once they add another D-man and a goalie, they're going to be real hard to beat most nights. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they need to add a goalie. Montembeault's struggled, I think, so far this year. But as far as the defense goes, Caden Gooley's injured, so he's a top four defenseman for the team and one of their better defensive defensemen. And I think once he comes back and if he's able to stay healthy, I think that'll make a big difference as well. But I agree. I mean, they've done their rebuild right. The rebuild is still ongoing. It's not a finished product just yet. I think there's still some maturity to be developed for this team. There's and these are not so much skill things that need to be developed, but more so the mental side of the game and how to be how to be pros, how to be winners, how to win games, and those are the things that I think they still need to work on. Frank, do I think Monty will play for Team Canada? As of today, probably not. But there's time for there's not a lot of competition. Is the thing. It's not like he's going into a race against a bunch of other like there's not a lot out there. So I think there's still time for him to improve and to get better and to be the goalie that again, the third goalie probably. But if I were picking the goalies today based on the first 13, 14 games of the season, I probably would not pick Montembeault. Yeah, I think that's probably right. It's funny. I was looking at the goalies the other day. I mean, I don't even know that Logan Thompson probably is the number one choice right now, but is Aiden Hill still a viable option? Like where's Tristan Jarry? There's other guys. I mean, again, none of these are ideal choice. Is Binnington still in the mix? Right? Is Binnington still in the mix? Binnington's been terrible. So, for me, Logan Thompson probably would be the number one choice right now. But again, there's still, if Canada had a Hellebuck or something like that, then I think you would probably feel a little more confident in saying who is going to be the goalie at this stage of the season. But with the dearth of talent for Canadians, Team Canada goalies, anything can happen between now and then. You might just take the hot hand. Leo, welcome. I think you're new here, Leo. Merci pour être ici. Thanks for the question. Slav is going to benefit so much from Ivan Demidov being on the power play. It's really promising. Yeah, I think they're all going to benefit from that. He adds another element. He's obviously, a guy who has incredible passing skills and, sees the ice really, really well. He's able to thread the needle to his teammates. His timing is fantastic. It's just, again, you feel like you're going on and on and on about the player, but he is just that good. He is really, really, really impressive. Why is it okay for you to call Anderson, Evans, Gallagher the fourth line? Anderson and Evans played more minutes and shifts. Well, again, like I said, it's not. I call them that because that's what they were for the majority of last year. They've been there. Typically on a hockey team, a fourth line is your defensive shutdown line, which is what that line is. You can call it whatever you want, Randy. It's really not that big a deal. It's not something I don't think you need to get this upset about. But again, if you want to call the lines based on the ice time that they had last night or tonight for the game, then you can certainly do that. But it changes from game to game. Next game it might be different. They might get less ice time than the new hook line, and it depends, right? So again, you can call them whatever you want. You can call them whatever you want. I don't really care what you call them. So my A team is right on the money, Frank. I appreciate that. Randy's A team. Here we go. Randy's A team: Demidov, Hudson, Doc, and Suzuki. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, Suzuki often gets Suzuki is such a fantastic performer and such um, a consistent guy from night in, night out that he probably loses out because you kind of grow to expect it from him, and you kind of just say, oh, well, that's just Suzuki being Suzuki, and he kind of almost has to do more sometimes to impress you, which probably isn't fair, but that's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, I mean, Suzuki could certainly be there. He had a great game, as he always does, right? 55.5% expected goals for percentage. What did he have for points tonight? Did he do you have a couple assists tonight, or just the one assist? Nick Suzuki. Oh, goal. Sorry, yeah, he had a goal in the power play, of course. Yeah, and he won 17 of 23 face-offs, as Randy points out. So yeah, I mean, I got no problem with Suzuki on there. But like I said, for when you're picking this team, this A team after every game, sometimes you kind of like you're almost like it's not fair to Suzuki, but sometimes you're almost looking for somebody else because realistically, you could almost put Suzuki on the A team almost every night. He's just been that good and that consistent and that solid. So. Mr. McPhilly, Craig Anderson was flying tonight. Keep forgetting how quick he can be. He's a fantastic skater. Craig. Unfortunately, he just seems to have lost his hands a little bit. I don't know what that is all about. It's one thing to lose your hands for, or to get, snake bit for a little while, but for it to become a permanent thing, it's kind of weird. Like he just doesn't have the finish anymore. And some of those offensive skills, and he's really changed his role. His role on the team has changed a lot. He's gone from what did he have, 30 goals one year, I think, in Columbus. I don't think they expect that from him anymore. He's playing more of a defensive role. He's a forechecker, right? He uses speed to be a good forechecker. And when things are going really well for that line, they can get some offense. Him and Evans and Gallagher, showed some offensive touch last year. But unfortunately, unfortunately or fortunately, I mean, I think fortunately he's taken on that role and he's done really good at it. But unfortunately, I think he's kind of lost his scoring touch a little bit. And he's a guy who gets a ton of chances, but just doesn't seem to be able to bury them. Is Suzuki the new Jonathan Toews? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's a good comparison or not. I think Suzuki might have more offensive upside than Toews. But I get the comparison. Like, a lot of leadership, two-way player, can contribute in virtually every aspect of the game. Power play, kill penalties, defense, offense. The whole shebang. Thank you, Frank. You too. Have a great evening. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, he's got it all. I mean, I'd be interested to see what Jonathan Toews. Scoring totals were through his career. So Jonathan Toews, yeah. So surprisingly, the most points Jonathan Toews ever had in a season was 81. Right? I mean, he's pretty consistent. 70 plus points a year. But I mean, at Suzuki's already surpassed that point total, and it's not all about points, obviously. So Nick had 89 points last year and 77 the year before that. So I think, yes, I get your point. 100%, two-way player, leadership, all of that stuff. A guy who, can lead a team, hopefully to Stanley Cup contention. I get that comparison, but I do think that Suzuki may have an even higher offensive upside than Jonathan Toews, and perhaps even significantly, now that I look at the points that Toews put up. Randy N is not a fan of Hellebuck. He is too deep in his crease. Now my mic is messed up a little bit, I think. Is that working now? Can you hear me there? There we go. Yeah, I mean, I get that's a criticism of Hellebuck, but I mean, you can't deny the fact that he's been the best goalie in the NHL for the last 3 years. He's obviously, he struggles in playoffs, which, I'm not enough of a goaltending expert to get to the bottom of that. I understand it has a part to do with him playing too deep in his crease, and it partly has to do with, his difficulties dealing with traffic in front of him. But I mean, we can't pretend that he's not a good goalie. You may not be a fan of his, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's a team in the NHL that wouldn't, bend over backwards to get a goalie like Connor Hellebuck on their team. Is he the best in the league? Maybe you could make cases for a few others, but he's either the best or one of the best in the league. So, he's a pretty special player. So, yeah, that looks like it's going to be pretty much it for tonight, gang. Again, the Montreal Canadiens fall in a shootout to the Philadelphia Flyers. It's a weird one because I think in one way you could make the argument that the Canadiens probably deserve to win that game. But in another way, you could say that they certainly did not deserve to win that game. It's another example of a game where the Canadiens did not put a full game together. They did not play 3 periods. They did not play 60 minutes. Inconsistency in their performance. A terrible, terrible first period. An incredible second period. That second period, they looked like they played as well as anybody in that second period. Like there's not a team that would have beaten them in that second period. Not a team in the NHL that would have beaten them in that second period. They were all over the place. They were flying around. They were playing their game, playing their systems. They looked really, really, really good in that second period. And then the third period was a bit of a mixed bag, right? They had some opportunities. They weren't able to capitalize, and then they allowed, as they've done, they allowed that tying goal to send the game to overtime. And unfortunately, the overtime magic wasn't there tonight. And maybe the lesson is that they can't count on that going forward, despite the fact that they've had a lot of success in overtime. Maybe the lesson is that they can't count on it because it's not always going to be there. Right? You can't always leave it to the last minute to put the game away. Sometimes you have to take care of things earlier in the game. So. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I really did enjoy the chat. Good conversation tonight. Craig, Randy, Frank, Leo, who else was here? Tristan had a couple questions and comments. Bushy, thank you for popping by. Malachi as well had some great questions. A new person here to the show. If you're not yet subscribed to the show, Malachi and anybody else that's watching, whether you're watching live or in a replay, hit the button down below, subscribe, help us grow the community. We're getting closer and closer to 500 subscribers. We are currently at 474, which means we've got 26 to go. Is the mic going off and on again? I know that was from before. So yeah, we're hoping to get to, if you enjoy having these conversations, we try to have objective, intelligent chats about the Canadiens. We do this post-game show after every Canadiens game. Habs After Dark. We also do a show called Habs Therapy Day. So if that is of interest to you, please, hit that button down below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. If you are enjoying the content, give us a thumbs up. We would love it. Like, we would love for you to join us and be part of this. Give us a thumbs up. Si vous aimez le contenu, vous aimez l'émission, donnez-nous un pouce en haut comme ça, un like. Ça nous aide ici pour agrandir notre canal, notre émission. Everything helps, guys. The likes helps, all that stuff. Take care, Craig. It was great to see you both on the TikTok feed and here on YouTube as well. But that's it for tonight. C'est tout pour ce soir. Merci tout le monde. Thank you, everybody. I hope you do enjoy the rest of your evening. If for me, there's not much left of it. It's after midnight here. Merci tout le monde. Bienvenue, bonsoir. On va vous voir à la prochaine. Les Canadiens jouent jeudi soir contre les Devils de New Jersey. The Canadiens play the Devils on Thursday. We will be doing a post-game show after that, and I look forward to seeing you all there. Have a great rest of your night, and we will certainly see you in the next one. Peace out.
To Hoffman, Monahan parked in front, Doc to Caulfield, fires, scores!
You are about to enter Habs After Dark with Recliner Sports.